The pitch from Acevedo.
Swung on and line down the left field line for a base hit.
Fly ball, gap, right center field.
Double him up at second.
Luke is going back to the 1-8 track. Get out the right, run and Buster grandma. It is grand salami time.
Polanco sends it in the right and will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
The run of great play had to come to an end at some point. Unfortunately for the Mariners, it came at the hands of the Detroit Tigers. Welcome to episode 165 of the Light the W podcast. I am Mahal Domingo Anderson with you for this episode. And let's talk about this weekend first and foremost. Now look, admittedly, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of this weekend. I was in Chicago doing all kinds of different things, from being at Wrigley Field on Saturday to flying home on Sunday, not being able to watch much of that game. What I did watch that game was the bottom of the ninth inning, and it was Andres Muñoz struggling again. So before we get into Josh Naylor and all of that, let's start with Andres Muñoz, because it's been a struggle. Look, Andres Muñoz has really, really struggled thus far in 2026. Another blown save today. That marks his 5th of the season. His career high in blown saves is 7. That was last year. He only has 9 saves right now. It ultimately hasn't been good enough. He hasn't been able to hold 1-run leads like you expect him to be. I mean, if Muñoz had 3 of those blown saves back, this Mariners team is a lot better than they are, right? And ultimately, look, it'd only be, 3 games better than what they are, but that's a large swing. 3 wins and you're 37 and 29. A huge difference in where this team is at. But as it stands right now, you're a game and a half above the Texas Rangers in first place in the American League West. You're 2 games above 500, and there's just no reason to panic. I talked about the deadline last week on Wednesday's episode. Make sure you go give that a listen if you haven't already. But I talked about how the Mariners might not need a truly high-leverage bullpen. Look, that was a week ago, and look, I'm using hindsight, and I'm using a little bit of an emotional reaction to today specifically. But if Andres Muñoz isn't a shutdown closer, like you expect him to be, what is this bullpen? What is this team? What can we expect? I've talked a lot about how this Mariners identity in 2026 should mesh with what their identity has been in 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021. That 21 and 22 seasons being the most of so, where they are gutting out close wins, and they can go and win extra innings games, and go win 1-0 games, and go win 1-run games consistently. But with Andres Muñoz doing what he's done, it makes it really hard to do that. There's going to be a lot of discourse about, is it time for Jose Ferrer to move into a closer role for the Seattle Mariners ball club? And is it? Is it time? It might be. Look, Muñoz probably has the best stuff out of anyone in that bullpen. Maybe Brash has had better stuff at points in his career, but not this year. Hasn't had the strikeout stuff like you wish he did. If Muñoz cut down on the walks and he was able to locate his fastball consistently and not have a slider back up, he would be fine. he'd be fine. But there's a lack of confidence in him, a lack of swagger in him, a lack of aura in him. He's just missing that little bit of flair that you expect with Andres Muñoz. And the question I propose is, does moving him out of that closer role allow him to get that swagger back? We already know in the past he didn't like not being in the ninth inning. And over the past few years, he has deserved the opportunity to only pitch in the ninth inning if that's what he wants to do. But if he can't consistently be the guy the Mariners need him to be in the ninth inning, then they can't afford to have him there. This is another scenario where I just need the Mariners front office, the Mariners management to show that they want to be a winning freaking baseball team, that they want to go and win the division, win the World Series, and make the tough decisions. They did the piggyback, then they switched to expand. They haven't made that tough decision. Can you make the tough decision now to say, look, Andres, you're not helping us get saves and win ball games where you are currently right now. We're going to move you out of this spot for a little bit of time until you get a little bit of that swagger, a little bit of that flair back so that you can be confident to go out there and rock some guys' worlds. Give him the seventh inning a couple times. He does well, all right. After, 5, 6, 7 good outings where his stuff is there, his command is there, his control is there, he's able to use those pitches and just dominate hitters again. All right, back you go to the closer role. Let's see if you can do that. Bump into the eighth inning. Can you do that? And in the meantime, the options are Jose Ferrer, Gabe Spire, Edward Pizarro, Matt Brash. You have high leverage arms, right? I think they still need another. I definitely still think they need another, especially with the way Muñoz has looked. And this is what I was going into with talking about the deadline a little bit ago. If Muñoz looks like this, they need a high leverage bullpen closer type at the deadline. They do. That's not an easy thing to go and get. But with this farm system, that's something that they should be able to get. Be able to go from your starter, who can do well, who can go throw 6 innings of 1-2 run ball, into a bullpen that can win you that game. That's what I want to be able to see from this Mariners team. And they've just really struggled to be able to do that through major parts of the season. And the bullpen really, at times, has been the thing that cuts out the legs from the team and takes away their consistency. Look, I should be talking to you tonight, and the Mariners should have their 4th straight series win. And they should only have 2 losses in their past, what would that be? 12 games? It should be 10-2 in their last 12. That's what they should be. But they're not. They blew a game. Now, how do they bounce back from that? How do you build on that? How do you go to Baltimore for a 4-game series here and win 3 of those? It starts with your pitching. And to me, it ends with your pitching. You could score more runs than you did in this series in Detroit. That is true. And I think the Mariners will do so. They will score more runs at Camden Yards. But I want to see this bullpen be able to close out a ball game. Especially against a team like that. And look, you could have walked McGonigal. We can go over that if people want to. But I don't care. We're using hindsight here. Andres Muñoz should be able to get Kevin McGonigal out. I don't care. End of story. It doesn't matter. If Andres Muñoz can't get the 8 and 9 guys out, if he's walking the 8 and 9 guys, we have bigger problems. Ultimately, we have bigger problems. Then we should walk Kevin McGonigal. It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't. Whether you walk him or not. You need your guy to be your freaking guy. And go out there and shove. Go sock the other team in the face. and say, I'm in charge here. I'm controlling this at bat. I'm controlling this game, but he's missing the strike zone, and it's allowing batters against him to have control and be able to get ahead in counts and be able to get a fastball in the strike zone that they can then hit. You almost got bailed out by Cole Young making a really nice play again. But you didn't. And if you didn't touch it, who knows if that run comes all the way around to score, and who knows what happens. But, again, that's using hindsight. The Mariners switched away from this piggyback because they didn't want to piss both guys off. But now you're getting one less start from Brian Wu, one less start from Emerson Hancock, one less start from Bryce Miller, one less start from Logan Gilbert. You get the idea. And your bullpen, who's already an arm short, is just taxed. Let's go look at what the Mariners' bullpen usage looks like. Brash through Saturday, Ferrer through Saturday and Sunday, Bizzardo through Friday, Spire through Saturday and Sunday, Bizzardo through Sunday. They all threw twice in this series, except for Andres Muñoz. I don't even know the last time Andres Muñoz pitched. Like, let Muñoz work in situations other than a safe situation, not just because he needs a little bit of confidence, but because he needs to be continuously pitching. Going 6-7 days without pitching is not a good thing for Andres Muñoz. He needs to pitch consistently. You can't give him 7 days off and expect, oh, you need to go get a save. You need to go be able to throw frickin' strikes so that you avoid the top of the order with runners on. Throw him in the 7th inning of a game. Throw him in the 9th inning of a 4-run lead. I don't care. But he cannot go 6 or 7 days without pitching. He needs to pitch 2-3 times a week. Every single week. End of story. I don't care. Like, genuinely, I'm looking at Fangraphs roster resource. He didn't pitch within the 6 days prior. His last outing before today was on the June 1st. It's June 7th. He went 6 complete days without pitching. Part because you were blowing teams out and you were winning games easily. But give him an outing on the Wednesday before you have an off day Thursday if he hasn't pitched in that long. Let him build his confidence, find his touch, find his feel for these pitches. For a guy that's struggling with confidence, you can't just find your feel in the bullpen. You have to find it in game situations. That's baseball. Let the guy frickin' pitch. That's the end of that. On the Josh Naylor stuff, did he purposefully throw the sliding bit? I honestly don't really care. Look, Colt Keith hit it on nail on the horn, right? If he's on our team, we love him. If he's on the other team, we hate him. Nail on the head right there. We love it. Him just tossing his sliding bit, it's not gonna hurt the guy. Who cares? The thing is made out of cloth for the most part and plastic. It's not gonna hurt the guy. That's fine. By my feel, that's fine. Look, it's a little bit, if someone else said that's my team, I'd be like, it's a little questionable. But ultimately, it's pretty freaking harmless. The slide from him, a little bit questionable, I'll give that. The play at first base, he just misread it. That's a baseball play that happens. Look, should he have bounced off the bag, on and off? Yes. Should he have made the top? Yes. He wasn't trying to injure McGonigal. Like, why? Why? And then you're throwing at him up high? That's my problem. Why are you throwing high? If you're going to hit him, fine. Hit him in the ass. Hit him in the hip. I don't care. Don't hit him high towards the neck, shoulder, head. Specifically the neck and the head. Don't do that. Like, why? That's some Tigers activities, man. Okay, so I briefly mentioned it earlier. This is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode, but Mariners got the Orioles this week. They faced Chris Bassett, Trevor Rogers, who has really struggled lately, Brandon Young, and Kyle Bradish. Mariners have Hancock, Gilbert, Kirby, Wu in this series. Let's go look at Baltimore very quickly. So, Baltimore's lineup. The guys you got to worry about. Pete Alonso. Gonna hit home runs. Samuel Basallo has been great. Adley Rutschman has had a bounce back year. Taylor Ward's been really solid once again. And Gunnar Henderson is always dangerous, even though he has struggled. The lineup is there, especially at the top. Right? We know that. Their issue is the rotation. You get their 3, 4, 5, and 1 starters. Bassett, over a 5 ERA. Rogers, over 6 ERA. Young has a 3.5 ERA. Bradish has a 3.89 ERA. All hittable guys. Those first 2 games have to be wins. Have to be wins. Hancock and Gilbert facing Bassett and Rogers need to be wins. And look, Monday you're not going to have your full bullpen available. That is just a fact. You're going to need some depth from Hancock, and you need to go scoring some freaking runs. But you should win this series. You should win these games. Orioles are 31-35. They've not been that good. They are good. They have players. But it's a very beatable roster, very beatable team. Especially for a team like the Mariners who expect to do dangerous things. We'll see if the Orioles are in it at the deadline, but they do have relievers that could be interesting to the Mariners should they fall off. So make sure you pay attention to what their bullpen usage looks like, how guys look. And make sure you watch some of these ball games because let's go win some more games. We're here in June and I need another series win. Till next time. Thank you for listening. As always, go M's. Peace.